Hi everyone, my name is Felicien Fotiomanfo from the ITC Cameroon, a WADA Cameroon hub, and I'm here today to talk about spread produce in Africa on behalf of my colleagues and friends, Megan Amanda Hess and Kala Ehawe Didier. So it all started with a problem, with the realization that most developers and entrepreneurs here in Cameroon and generally in Africa are not yet exposed to DLTs, let alone Haskell, Plutus, Cardano, and functional programming paradigm. So this really constitutes a steep learning curve, especially in the local context where object-oriented programming is mainstream. So we came out with a solution which consists to equip and train African developers, starting here in Cameroon and then expanding to the wider global network in Haskell, Plutus, and other discipline in computer science in general. So we came up with a strategy that consists of three step or milestone, and it started with like a launch, the launch phase, um, and then we thought about like the execution and the implementation to finish with the horizon. So launching was really about thinking about how we could build things from the ground up. Talking specifically about infrastructure, uh, and we focused on logistic and a framework within which we could work. We started with training the trainers that lasted for 6 months in the disciplines that I mentioned before. We came up with a program and a curriculum that we fully elaborated. And then we worked on making sure that the environment, the space was provided with logistic and necessary tools, meaning internet, electricity, books, as you can see, the library behind me. And we then came up with a formal offer for an internship program. And that followed up with a series of interview, going to school, talking to potential candidates, and then bringing them into the hub, running interviews and selecting them. Um, we decided to provide support to those that were pre-selected. Then we move on to the execution phase, in which we, structure it around three pillars: the structure and flow of our program, the methodology, and of course, we did encounter a few hurdles. Regarding the structure and flow, each of these discipline has completed software architecture and practice. For each of them, we created modules as wrapper, and we replicated those modules in this platform, community collaboration tools, REPL 8, Discord, and Telegram. REPL 8, we use it as a way to submit homework. And then Discord was where we created, live discussions, meetups, and other interesting events. And we use Telegram as our social platform. So the lectures took place three times a week, and each session lasted for 5 hours. And in addition to that, our interns had access to us for, additional support. Our approach consisted of focusing on a project learning based methodology, and we really wanted to not be like traffic signs, which tells you where to go, but it hasn't been to that place yet. And then we adopted an agile management approach for managing all the tasks, and we made sure that we feed on our feedback loop, given that this is a green project, a lot of like variable at stake and very complex domain. We did encounter a lot of hurdles the steep learning curve that functional programming paradigm presented to our interns made it in such a way that we got multiple resignations. uh, we had a serious problem with Haskell and Plutus resources, very scarce, and those that are available were only in English, so we had to do a lot of translation. Scarce computer resources was another problem we faced. So, moving on to the horizon, looking ahead, learning from our experience, uh, and then defining the perspective, and finally, how we could be supported to continue with this adventure. So, for future iteration, we plan on focusing on spending a lot of time on math prerequisite, founding pillars of Haskell functions, sets, and even lambda calculus. We want to focus on short, you know, and precise video content as opposed to what we were doing before with like large and long content. We want to make sure that we translate the content, resources in French, uh, and also work on providing a lot more resources to the hub. Future and expansion. So our plan is to, since we took a project-based learning approach, we have three core projects that were funded through Dano, Montalis, Lost and Found, that we intend to uh, complete the development. We already started within the framework of our training journey initiative. We also want to expand our training initiative now that we have readily trained interns. There will be assigned, or actually have been assigned to water herbs, and we will leverage our first iteration of our program and adjust it so that they could also share that knowledge through the herbs. And lastly, we put in Fund 10, second phase of our Nurturing Root project. And the idea here is really to continue the dream. So we would really appreciate if you could go and vote for us to make sure all of this great adventure continues. Lastly, for support, you can join us on our Instagram, Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and look out for great things that are coming up.